Because I feel that our people will suffer. Ghana will suffer for a very long time. Ghana will suffer for a very long time. They were expecting that I have to go and give them monies before they come and showcase something like this. They forgotten that no one gave me any money. To the point say I borrowed 1 million Ghana cedis. I was out program here with Dumasiano, apart from Sika must say any amount for more support to or more information for. I borrowed 1 million Ghana cedis just to make sure say yes, see police station every year their background so no mantamu the person that my year drew every and I team hosts our program no at the program I covered 300,000 Ghana cedis. Only at the end you feed amount for buy accommodation cover 200,000 Ghana cedis. Take it amount for number supporting or move free hire or mobile no they about 15 of them buying ticket for them no in and out no obia they no anya hwene better 3,000 bebre 8 your money about maybe 3 about 8 of them when you sky send there and watchi and no be an enka arrangement no I have to find money to do all that and you know we a media house yes a media house would the pesika there but obi ya the papa e ma kuro na wo timu bi na ye you also try to sacrifice something for this. So say I was like, see, you guys are just hypocrites, you are just pretenders. You don't have any love for the country, you don't have any iota of respect or feelings. I mean, real feeling for the country. Because you guys, no, because I was just shocked. Say, hey, now mommy wait, what a Ghana? Now be to a video so. Nipa ne MPP ne NDC ni because this go for me anyway no so mo can be now we told that line now one na man for ebe you say be cry we MPP ne NDC ni this person here individual person na on belong to any political party meaning say be o so me independent candidate be there meaning na nipa no ka say edin kan before say me kasa no me be say me chia e dumasua nkoso hene na okokuro no ma e dumasua no na even ya akwa man be ka say dumasua e de e wo brekum kwan so no say e wo brekum kwan so no. I'm say she's from Bono. That woman I don't want to say anything. UTV. I don't want to say anything. So if Bono come home. Yakunamano. Anyway, I won't say anything to her. So if Bono now be kase Kurobi afeni dumasuya or hini bi or nipa ban kai medi oni medi nipa so nya bibia mpo say wa pave kuro nyina with pavement blocks or say on pese mfuturo beba kuro ho eno achi was police station our de magana ben obese she is she not from Bono yeah earlier then because of free Bono no nipa no di sika as police station I say police station na aban kura NC police station sa magana police was here enya sam ketwa we see a whole ultra modern their background am akuro no na say no mpo na anya ohwe or say wa pegu kuro no nyina o so obeko Dubai obeko Europe obeko US because okwa enjoy afafe na obi ye bi say wo kurom e wo Ghana ha na wote wo o channel so na wantimi kura Mr. Nipa say sir wo video bi ye nso man for sir na e mo nipa na baso ba mo nyina mo betina bonten a pretenders. Captain Smart, I love that man. He's a great man. You talk so much. I follow you. I was expecting, say, at least, and no, say, Mako repu akurabi, tieniye. Say, my repu akurabi, and now boni bi na maya. Nkamumba tina muti, but some kamwase. Say, me, boni bi na mako di obisika, mako fraud obi, mako ya drugs bi, na bibi na maya. I know that I'm back to my channel so UTV ka home. I don't post you or more Adom online to be for one ka home. Peace FM ka home, Onia ka home, TV3 ka home, or the same TV Africa no money all the market nyina mo ka home. Mun nyina no mo yefunu na mo hwe. All of these guys, they don't love Ghana. Me, I'm saying say we are. All those media houses, I mean, ultra modern their background am akuro no. na say enu mpo na anya ohwe a o say wa pegu kuro no nyina o so obeko Dubai obeko Europe obeko US because okwa enjoy ahwefe na obi ye bi say wo kurom e wo Ghana ha na wote wo channel so na wantimi kura mi say ni pa say sa wo ho video bi ye nso ma manfo sa na e mo ni pa na ba so ba mo nyina mo betena bonten a pretenders. Captain Smart, I love that man. He's a great man. You talk so much. I follow you. I was expecting, say, at least, any no, say, Mako repu akurabi, tieniye. Say, my repu akurabi, and now bonibi na maya. Kamuba tinamu TV, zama kamwase. Say, me, bonibi na mako di obisika, mako fraud obi, mako ya drugs bi, na bibi na maya. I know that I'm about to channel so UTV ka ho adom post you e wo mo adom online ti be for mo ka ho Peace FM ka ho Onia ka ho TV3 ka ho or say TV Africa no money all the maka nyina mo ka ho mo nyina no mo yefunu na mo hwehwe. All of these guys, they don't love Ghana. Me, I'm saying say we are all those media houses I may follow mo nyina no me say me I will unfollow all of them. And I know say because I'm just an individual person. Yes. But I feel say moya nkrofo a new say me dey support na me waste me data. Say me help program because mo nyina mo a bunch of hypocrites. Mo a bunch of hypocrites. Because something like this is going on in Ghana. In a village, an individual and within a space of a year, this person or people nyina and yet obi na man sika bio ono ane kakra what say no wire mu any a little support from people online and all yes adi way na say mo te Ghana hai na mo nyina man timi an show mo bibia hey me say the traditional media in Ghana, they don't care for the progress of this country. We will be able to follow me see and now be me all these media houses, you know, unfollow all of them. I prefer to follow all these vloggers and bloggers. At times they say, I will follow them because mo and I'm pegana ye. All these media houses, you know, unfollow all of them. I prefer to follow all these vloggers and bloggers. At times they say, I will follow them because mo and I'm pegana ye.
Many are Monsieur Bibia, a drew Saturday, dear, a sim whom Kwan ye didn't was it. One tiasia, over tiasia. Minia, a drew Saturdays, dear, now I had there. Now, only the mammy boss are we Buddhist leader, no, me born a video no dear tremor. Any kind of fancy met you Bibia or Shemi. That was Hassay. Wabana or Shemi, a Saturday. Ya good young Kwan, me funny before. So if we say Wakumanya, Mr. Konekoda. And I hope say wakumanya to say the cactus one white jana obeka you know say a man for so we year you the other traditional media houses near day want to be to me no accord no akwa join any woman into me no aba hasia in free sonko you know ne beti the ebe kan wa hase no se waba betrase ni ni nkowo na obe like no wa share no wa comment na odi yekoye yedi asori ediko yenim yedo bibi ase. You see, one say Ghana for moduma. I am just doing this thing to tell people say onipa ye friend bibi ni o ne ho adwuma ye edin. Ne ho adwuma ye edin. That is the human being called bibi ni ne ho adwuma ye edin pa. Enti se wo ye nipa ho adwuma o na o expect say o ya de pancho mo meka ene minua obeje adwuma ne ye. I am telling you for a fact. Say, you say, oh yeah, the palma will be into a meka or meka. But oh dear, ye nipa ni boniki to webi. Ye ni boniki to webi, de be a man eduani. But one day pe a man eduani, be a better say one man eduani. But Dana, de be a woman eduani, and you'll be anti you. Be anti to say, Duma ye on, Duma we are ye on. De be out there for facts, if a brave woman. For facts, one day, maybe a baby 1 or 2 be. And you don't get your stuff, your facts right. You see how people will come at you. Sanity, inti, one can share spiritual leader and say, you see, I in an movie. Kwame Nkrumah in Kofoni tonight over 15 years, and Kofona bodam, and Kofona Omwa bodam. He? Omobeye san numa we nyina wie. When they finish, they will come and tell you, say, a religion, and Emma Ghana and Konanim. Oh, there be a bruni and Emma Ghana and Konanim. Oh, it is religion that is not helping Africa to develop. Oh, it is the West. The West is fighting us. That is why we are not developing. But the question is, they would never apportion the blame onto themselves. Yeah, you believe in my own time. I can't say be. When in Mongo Park, or ye Scottish. Diogo de Azambuja, or ye Portuguese. Christopher Columbus, or ye Portuguese. And Diaz, your friend didn't say, Diogo Cow, Diogo Cow, also a Portuguese. One is small, King John, or yes, King John the Second. That time I'm say King Henry or Prince Henry, the Prince Henry the Wuti, King John the Second, and Obedi Nadia. No. In that era, no, there was serious economic problems in the whole of Europe 500 years to 600 years ago. I am telling you, maybe show the difference between Obibini, the difference between a black man, or the difference between an African and a European, or probably I am trying to tell you the difference between the races, no, race ne wurias no, and the ebehwe ensonso da wo ntem. And a typical difference, and then say, in about 500 years ago, when great famine hit Europe, and so to speak, the West, The leaders at the time did not siphon the little money their respective countries had and move their immediate or nuclear family with them to a beautiful place or something what we call for greener pastures. But what the leaders at the time did was to send intelligent ones among them to go and explore the world. And after exploring the world, they should exploit. And exploitation is taking hold of something to benefit your very life. Into the Omuya, you know, Diogo de Azambuja, who went to Ghana, or those of you in Ghana who came to Ghana, came without his wife or children. Diogo Cao went to Africa without his family, that is children and wife. Christopher Columbus made navigation errors and then he landed in the Americas. He went there without his family. But what did the guys do? They went out there exploring the world, trying to know what is out there. After knowing what was out there, they identified certain important stuff that could solve their problem for them. And so they exploited all of those things and sent back to their place. But in the case of an African man or the black man, what the black man does is, if a black man has a problem, he runs away from the problem with his family, his girlfriend, and the immediate people around him. Is it not what is going on? Back in Africa, we have, after 500 years, these guys help solve the problems in Europe. We are here in this modern time. Our leaders, our political leaders, our traditional leaders, the little money is left in Africa. And whilst most of the people in the continent are saying that they are going through economic problems, these so-called leaders, the spiritual leaders, the political leaders, and whatever leaders on the continent, they make sure they carve a beautiful niche for their nuclear families. So if they think that there's economic issues in Ghana, what they do is that they pick the little resources, they buy houses in Jersey, they buy houses in Spain, they buy houses in Europe, and they send their nuclear family to go there and hide and eat. A difference, no. Yeah, no. This is what they do. Yeah, no. Say you who chile ya a como ba ubon so hine no ono nko no afa oman na japade no atam ne yire ne ma no asafa ne girlfriend aka ho no odi oma ko hye baabi na omo odidi. But broni no e kom ba de krom no ohine no ohine ne tena ne krom wanyane e no soma na nyansafo monko wiase afa na nyina monko hwehwe na monsesa enuane mfamreye enu na ama nne omo aya adehye no enu na ama nne omo aya enkofo no aya adehye a yekoso aye nkoa no na yebekoso aye nkoa na aye nkoa because of your thinking and your religion. Last time I listened to Professor Patrice Lumumba from Kenya making firm arguments, debate that religion is the bane of Africans' underdevelopment. It's never true. No one can force you to believe in a God that you do not want to believe in. For you to be indoctrinated is a choice. It is not a genetic thing. Anything that is not genetic, it means that you have control over it. I'm saying one more time. Anything in this life that is not genetic, because, for example, those who give birth to autistic children, they have no control whatsoever of the genetic formation, the genotype. No, they have no control. So you cannot blame them that why did you give birth to a Down syndrome child? They have no power whatsoever, and no human race has any power. But if someone tells you something and you choose to believe in that thing, and that thing leads you to your grave, you blame yourself. Don't blame the person that gave you that stuff. It was then incumbent on you. It was your responsibility and continues to be your responsibility to peruse, to go through what you've been presented, whether it is poison or not. If you don't do that and then you consume it, and later you find out that it is poison, you don't blame the person that gave you that particular substance, because the person did not force it down your throat. Don't let anyone bamboozle African youth. Religion is not our problem. The number one problem of Africa is leadership. The number one problem of Africa is intelligence. We are more or less like the least intelligent race. I am telling you, it is painful, but I need to tell you. Edin say make us see at but it was a make. Nipa and sunsunye wo wiase nyina ye ne ye jimi for. You know why? Hey? Today I'm drifting. I'm moving away from the normal. That politics no dey. Me saying that is not my calling. No, politics no Ghana. Enya no ntina me ba. Enya no kura ntina me ba. Social media no so. But nipa need mean we ya. Se nipa nya economic structures ni ye ya. Oka bibia want it. And nti aya na me politics no. But the core no is to speak to how certain historians have changed the true story, and they come and trying to say that, oh, it's not that our ancestors never resisted the oppression. If indeed you resisted the oppression, how come you were taken into slavery? Do you understand the word resistance? If you resist people, they cannot take hold of you. So they didn't resist. They were all accomplices. Omar Ibrahim, or say, Omar, I want to read your comment. Let me try and see if I can get you. Say, it is a lie. Religion is a programming which started from. Or say, it is a lie. Religion is a programming which started from our friends' childhood days, and we as kids didn't have control over religion or belief. Our parents went through the same thing by their parents. It's not true. Let me tell you one thing. Yeah, assembly I beka biya no. Ye tumre no a ni a kire ni si. Menua me sha no na me di fufuo. Na ye sori a di fufuo ni ma me a na me di. Ba me di fufuo no, me di a na me nya problem on me body ni mo. Me di a na me nya problem. So, meka say, me maame ne me papa ni skenti meko so adi fufuo no mawu. Adwen wo yitrim. adwen wo yetrim ade bia wo se bia programme wo no ade bia miss entina me say it is not genetic untimi nsesa no whatever you have been told by your parents, you meet people along the line, they tell you certain different stuff, just that you have decided not to listen. You only moving with what you have been told. And if you do this, how do you then compare and contrast? Masa, opium programming. The religion you think you were born into it, I was also born into it. How did I manage to get out of it? Because I availed myself. I availed myself for this land. And what say, usunya bibi, problem ba ho jai to ho, nekofa bibi fofo. Because one kasa book now we see the program no, one catch you say, so ahunhum nyina ahwe. That is the code of the Ashe book. So so if you don't try all other spirits, how do you then conclude say? How do you then conclude say you have been programmed? So now that you know you have been programmed, what do you do about it? So this thing I'm saying starts or begins with you. You know that you have been programmed. When we say will be a program, then deprogram yourself. Once a while, some now okano. We are materialistic. Ne nipa bia odo ennyoma no. Hwe nipa odo nnyoma esi nipa no, humanity no. De bia de ne yakwa. De abrofo ne di nya ye no. And sometimes when you grow up or you pick up any book and you're reading, I want for person book in the title, any book in the title, me panche mo kon samonye. I said the God delusion. The God delusion, no. By Obi and Obi person control Richard Dawkins. Richard Dawkins, The God Delusion. And they're just Obi book no just to listen to what other people have said. That's it. That's just by the way. Into Oba na book we na a storybook na and I say what for Bible Quran na woka. Oh, yes, Muhammad ko hasi. Na I will say all the events now Muhammad go through no activities no. Like I say we see yenana wait was so there be. Omo true stories ni to wa. Ubeka say abrofo ne ba ya no mbesesa de ekoye nkoa. Let me tell you. Da be na slave trade ankasa ehase. In 1471 Adiago di Azambuja ne nkofo kopi wo Elmina no. Start 1471 no. Omo betna wa omo si dan ye bibia by 1481 no omo si Elmina Castle no. 82 no omo wi. Ni bia and next bi na odi mo de kika ho. Ni bisa wo. Day this question no me see me busa day ene nipa kakra bi no about 600 or so men ni yesi omuti boat ni mu e ba Elmina no omutumi di omu aduane gu ship so e de omakode gu ship so ene wo ba betnae that time na Elmina na population yesai na yinim ye ntumi ankan nipa net yas. Let's assume say oba na Elmina for 5,000 people. Elmina for 5,000 people. And Auma will be at any krum oba or taking months to move on the surface of the sea. Not on the Kronum Portugal. No, I could far could dear diaba. No, diaba be con or diabo. I could hear the sun. No, I sound for ship, no, the Kronum. Like, who should believe in this crowd? And then the minimum ye emoting. Emoting. Also, the Bianca Siena Nanum dear, me to me, no. No me Jimmy for. I can't show. No me Jimmy for. Yes. Yes. And that is why Europeans, no, they have to think that way. Why? Because ultimate now if you're able to sit in the comfort of your home, na obiba na odiwa beye akwa wo ankasa ukromu owia na wasesa enkoa ne bi na osa de afa shape so e de akoto e makogu asase bi a munim so da a ye friend America eno so ono a na ekoni nam oni nam nsu so sa na okopie ho na wa ukrom odiwa ya akwa na odiwa free ukrom de wakwa akodru Americans wo na ose do ahwede a wo so no and when I and that is why I'm molested before Americans won. Because Ukromu, you could not resist. And it's not like only Ghana. It is not like only Nigeria. With the exception of Ethiopia. The Ethiopians truly and ideally resisted oppression until no country, even recent days, Mussolini, one person, Italians, say, take no. Let's go and read the Battle of Adwa. I didn't know one thing, take yes, resisted, yes, and they won the battle. What are you guys talking about? My brothers and sisters, ain't he? Start Bonsu, and then I'll just be picking one. To say can. Also, our ancestors were in the same hierarchy state of our modern day chiefs. Okay, our modern day chiefs' behavior. We say 500 years to come, we will get African historian telling us that the Chinese people were unfair to us. They molested us. They stole our lands and what have you, and will not be the truth. And some others will be saying, say, the Africans didn't have their historians. Oh, the Chinese destroyed our history. I am telling you, the first and foremost thing for any race, any species, the first and foremost thing that you should possess is intelligence. About intelligence, and out of the intelligence, you defend yourself from the predators. If your intelligence cannot protect you and your future generation, then you are less intelligent. Let me tell one trick. America has gold reserve and what have you need now is all political sophistry, political host, political friends say tricks. Let me tell you, America takes hold of your resource. They produce what we call ammunitions. So America is backed by ammunitions, not gold, not oil. And almost say, whenever they feel that their businesses in your country, when they feel their business in their country threatened, and then it means that democracy must give way for their businesses to thrive. That is America, no. and almost system and then they say set a very good example. What they did to El Salvador, what they did to Guatemala, what they did to Panama, what they did to Japan. So you set very good example so that people who want to walk in the same path as the Japanese, the Panamas, like is it Guatemala, all the other countries in the Caribbean. Into your race, or your human being now was so. Now you lack the intelligence. Your intelligence is your ability to gather knowledge, information, and use the information to save yourself. That is to live your very life. Into data, the intelligence, and then in America for no, the American intelligence, no, the British intelligence, the German intelligence, in India, almost gather information on BBR. Those are the bomb ama omo ediye ne na etna omo mama so ediye. Intelligence mu na obehu ye free bibi defense mechanism. Your defense mechanism ewo intelligence mu. Mibusa wo Africa. You need defense mechanism biya. When it comes to your military way say, you know, military biya and Africa yeah, you biya. No single African country any an ammunition. Do you know why today China is able to rub shoulders with the rest of the Western world and America? Because now China is able to produce its or her own tanks. Because tanks now, I could missiles no China. Uncle will be weapons we share technology no. And no the technology knowledge no or the boy are solving the everyday problem. The everyday problem they say in this geopolitics no. They only need military power. America bet nyaka or the sanction at total so rough. And America make it up crash your economy. So what do? What you first of all do is you build a strong intelligence, and this intelligence talk about your defense mechanism. What is the defense mechanism for Ghana, for Nigeria, for the Ivory Coast, for Cameroon, for Mali, for Burkina, for Niger, for Chad, for Congo? None of the African country has a well-developed defense mechanism. And any tiny country in the West can take hold of Africa in 1 minute. In 1 minute, they can take hold of Africa. And we cannot say jack. I'm telling you, CIA, but could stay no one America. Only odi oye bibi adema o. If you say I didn't know me, yes, they know. They know Jatano onim say wako buffalo no territory. Akochi buffaloes no weaker ones no ediaba. Inti brebiano was say or money intelligence in the defense mechanism powerful so that uncle that one day not buffaloes no and be invaded on a territory. So yeah, something we call animal behavior. You best or better understand what I'm trying to put across. Oh yeah, animal behavior. What's be a friend animal behavior? Obeti dominance, I say, spheres of influence, obeti as there. And you think why America every day is trying to establish their bases on other people's soil? Jimmy, they know they have intelligence, and the intelligence tells them that make sure you have your ammunition close or even on the borders of your enemies, but make sure again that your enemies don't get any access in your territory. And that is why America, time at Cuba, and Russia, and fire on Kofano, not almost true, because say Russia could see the base in Cuba. Say Asamobana or smart missile be contempt to America. Into America will never accept any base Europe say emna or no territory say Mexico, Brazil on Tiasieda. And your friend James Monroe, the Monroe Doctrine. Go and read about what we call James Monroe. The Monroe Doctrine. And your friend the spheres of influence. Into America, Oko Ghana was in the base war. Oko Burkina, France when the base war. Oko Malia, France when the base war. Into say France if what no cause no go for they have the base, and the base near no. The intelligence a chrono information a war France if also just a war Mali ni Burkina no. France government no. In a friend say Burkina ni Mali government no, they have no idea. And you know why? Sana omuna nanamu year 500 years ago. And omuna nanamu tiase say we are materialistic. Ye donyoma si nipa. Ye do ohoho esin krumani. Is it not surreal? Is it so surreal, so strange that when I was a little boy, my grandmother used to censure me anytime I picked any of her plates to eat or serve my food. My grandmother will quickly say that, hey, Kwame, return that plate, return that ceramic bowl. Why? Don't you know that it's been set down for visitors? Why were you always thinking about a visitor that you have no idea whether that visitor will even come to your house? And then you buy bowls and set the bowls down for visitors you do not know. Mibusa say na enu Mary na moadwe bumana. O say a chese mi na obedi ma. Tena se mi ni me se na moadwe bomu ana. Wo de ye fa nkwa sese mfiri mi so. On say on to me ya no. We who se busa an intelligent question. Wo no ba tv. Ade we even now e be before ye. Akoda kofa ka akokoro enu ano a. Pesi wo we wunim say ye de serve ahoho. Radi Jesus Christ. Broni ben odin say ohoho beba ni fie ntino on top plate in fancy one fan twen ohoho. And then I lived with my grandmother to witness say ohoho na ohoho bi free ni krom. Ichebi free suta no aba. Oh, now we na me nua ba ko no ne ko school no aba Kumasi obeya ade enti na oso wo fa ha say me nana timi sorry free ono ne mpaso. Me ne that's no. Kwame, on said the enya ho ntino. Odimpa no This thing is ingrained in us. We are mentally weak. You can relate very much well than even the American. And we can. It is true. We still do it. Empress, and so say it is true. Now, any intelligent being bay said data enyanam one ne ma ne yere ne ma ewe nam no na data say enam no nkura ne nsusu nwe na puma bi ebeba besra wo mo jaguar bi beba besra wo mo hyenas beba besra wo mo nti se na hyenas ne ba enkuda na bia no mo bedi no ye dia mama to the extent say we even we garnish the food of visitors better than the food people even serve their husband now or we been intelligence no. You see, I am breaking it down. I'm taking it down for you to understand how we think. And that is why Kwame Nkrumah elevating the kakra bi no na enkofo nte ase no. The reason Kwame Nkrumah suffer in the hands, not in Ghana, in the hands of Ghanaians, even in the hands of the African Union, Kwame Nkrumah suffered because the people, the leaders at the time, don't really understand what Nkrumah meant. And because we all think the same, the so-called the evil doer, a friend of the Westerners or the Europeans, were able to trade with other African leaders by telling them that Nkrumah was only targeting to become the head. If all of you should come together, then Nkrumah becomes your head. And so, Africans, we all want to be in our respective corners and control affairs. And so they quickly bought into what the Europeans were telling them. And as I said earlier, you choose to believe whatever people tell you. If any pastor comes to you to tell you that your mother, who went through the mill to put food on the table for you, to clothe you, to water you, to do any damn thing for you, if one day you get up and then you listen to any unscrupulous preacher man, any unscrupulous prophet, as they call themselves, that your mother or your father, your grandmother is a witch, it is your palaver. Don't extend it onto anyone, because it is your own responsibility to make sure to scrutinize where that enters your ear. If you choose to believe it and then you find yourself in any trouble, don't belabor religion. If someone tells you the God you serve is a lesser God, and you choose to believe in it, it is not the problem of the one telling you to denigrate your God. It is your choice. If people still want to argue that they were indoctrinated, I am telling you, indoctrination has no link with your genetic ramifications. Your genetic codes has nothing in it that is called indoctrination. Anything you have been fed with you can vomit that thing out. You only continue to swallow the food because you think it is making something good for you or giving you some kind of energy. But you cannot say that. You know that this is poison, but it is your mother who is giving it to you, and so you continue to take it. Religion can never be our problem. It is our mindset, as Jenna put it. The mindset is that we gravitate towards stupidity. And so when people amongst us within our camp do the good stuff, we seem not to appreciate. But let people do the wrong stuff, you see people patronizing and rushing to that. I am telling you. So Jenna, don't be worried. If you think you want to fight, you want to do any meaningful stuff for the black man, be prepared that it is not today's black man that has this peculiar problem I'm talking about. The yesterday's black man is as worse as the today's black man. And we seem not to add ourselves to the problem. It is always in the dictionary that anything the black man goes through is exogenic. It is not endogenic. Thank you, Amatewia. I say no one can force you to go to church or mosque, but rather it is your own choice. If you were forced because you were a kid, if you didn't go to church, your mom or dad will not pay your school fees. So the first question I ask is this: when the Europeans came, our forefathers were already old. And there's a saying that you can never teach old dogs any new tricks. And so when they came, when Diago Azambuja landed on the shores of Amina, when Mungo Park landed on the shores of Congo and Nigeria, when Diago Cow landed where he landed, they were not received by any kids or children. They were received by the adults at the time. So why were those adults, how possible, how come they were convinced, the people were able to convince them, even the language was a problem. But do you know why? They got convinced, they got swayed, they got carried away because they fixated their minds and their eyes and their everything on how the white man had dressed, the food the white man was eating, how the material things the white man had created with the same gold and minerals in the soil, the little ones they had in their country. They were able to create sword. In ancient Latin, we call sika. And through the word sika, and we got sikai. Go and check the meaning of S-I-C-A. Sika in Latin is the olden day sword. And in the olden days, most of the European countries spoke what? Latin. When they came and the Portuguese came with what we call candia, and the people fixated their minds on this stuff. Because what our ancestors could do was to light or set up the fire, and they could not carry it or store it in the form of like a lamp. When the Portuguese arrived in Elmina, they got to the place with all those stuff, and the leaders at the time wanted to use those things, and so they didn't mind. They never thought twice when dealing with the European. And out of Candia, and we got what we call Canea. So the word Canea comes from the Portuguese word Candia. Pano, even the food we eat, majority of them was introduced to us by these Europeans. So sometimes when you see that some chiefs will say it is our culture. What culture? What culture? Before, let's know, before the Europeans got to Africa, were our chiefs moving with guns, just shooting guns to say it is our culture? That is why chiefs, and then what have you, they move, the chiefs and the queen mothers, they move, and the abrafo, the local soldiers or the traditional soldiers, will be shooting into the air. So the question is, when at the time the Europeans had not landed in the country and hadn't introduced guns to our chiefs, what were they moving with? And people say it is a yamamre so hine ba ye tututuo. I want to be more fake advert no ha. What Mohu said is because today I'm starting me TikTok. The honum no be kamananka. Ye hu say ye betimi so stream the afa ho ntino. Ma set TikTok bi wa ha say a me dey hwa ade hwe say e be cool. I think say a lot of you can go to Enkoto. Ube hu Enkoto. Me te ho a ma ye into betimi follow me TikTok so so this is just by the way, and I'm now trying to say a crossing happening about TikTok, so how they do their live videos. I don't have time, but to us. It's human nature. Sometimes you need to understand certain things, even you. Even you, when you see new phones, you get attached to it. You were here when you asked us to help you buy a camera. Relate to. This is totally different. You see, this is totally different. But after buying the phone, I have not said that the phone is my culture. I am telling you how attached we are. Okay? The way you see this is the same thinking our people sent to the negotiation tables in this modern time. When Nigeria got oil, not Saudi Arabia so oil no way. Not all the rest of the world no oil no way. At the internet Saudi Arabia, oil no, but they don't have yam, they don't have granite, they don't have oil palm plantations, they don't have oil no Saudi Arabia and the Emirates no. But why? You know why the Europeans cannot cheat them? It is because of what we call say Europeans meaning Arabs in history said they will not sit down for you to cheat them. Because also I conquer we as that one also through the Ottoman Empire. Defeated the Byzantines. They have their history and they know they can fight. And that is why they are no Western world, Europeans and Americans and the African the Arab world. They know. I didn't know they have the intelligence. I didn't know about Africa. They have the intelligence and we ye ni omo kotran omo pe ahode and nunti omo ne betena cheye so many years, over 100 years. Bronini baye no, the first slave trade, the slave ship no, 16 something. But abrofini ba Africa 1471 omo Ghana 1472 na omo Asini ewo Ivory Coast and no side will be a big pie be Ghana ye friend half Asini just say half of Asini eba Ghana and Asini kese na no e call Ivory Coast into Portuguese no omo call omo ba Elmina omo call Asini e bi call Nigeria by 1582 ho baby na omo drew South Africa. Omodi nam wiase na no saa so ye busa the question and say obi etu ni nkofo ma omo nam eposo ehwe wiase ape kwan a omo befa so afa wiase na yet wo ye dey uwodua utimi de yakodo wo ntimi mfa mfa wiase na so nkohwe e kachem say ye ekom de a ye mpanyimfo no masese omo yire ne omo ma na omo de omo kọ enti abrofo ne bae ni nyina the same thing o ye opinion leaders ya hemfo no ena omo ma abrofo ne sesa omo ne omo ma de omo kọ ye kotrini o but oni no ekom de no wono tena the room. King Leopold never touched base. He never stepped foot in Congo. King Leopold II and so na on Congo ho nyina ye ne dia. A tiny country like Belgium taking hold of the entire Congo, the nine NC water, or Tsuman. Leopold found a year and the man and the girlfriend I met na Congo say, and one will be gold. But yeah, you could not gold, baby. You who say Bruni Crum were there. You will see chiefs buying mansions at Bruni Crum. When in mansion to a winning to say King Charles. What is a King Charles or Villa Brown, South Africa, and Amuruku? At then or more him for India, or more for Musica, and Metodine, and Dubai, and a friend say, oh, Africa. And no, na Jenna, Buddha, all can. Say, or no, ACC in the crew, a crooked to a what do Messia Honomo, or the pavement has a tata baby, I say, in futuro, because or qua brutra, or who say in futuro. So, what baby on the crew, not the medium po, bon the wu, or more pesica Jeffrey no, and son or moka, but okudi akoda de a, and here me man can't change all my isika and son focus and news. And go no habe to car, a baba be report. So, Jenna aqua could akoda, and none me to Jenna for say, start behavior we own, if it take. Be beneath you by no. Ye adepa ye nka ho asem ade adi nyansa bebe fi ye nka ho asem na oman a utimu na o ka nyansa asem wo fi kura na empanyfo settle down say wo ye minim dodo oman a ye timu O Kenyan sasema mpanyimfo mu gufi omo agimia mpanyimfo na gufi nyina be gage se na afi mu nyina tan o ba pe o akra video yi minim ti mempɛ na asɛm ayɛ ne ho mpanyinsɛm precocious child. Minia, you can choose to argue. What person argue, no, you can argue, but deep down within your heart, unim your intelligence level. Unim, and I'm telling you, senka nature may nyinaya say 500 years time wa anka wo beti ase say sa behavior we I say yen kan ho asem yen challenge bibia 500 years to come. A man for be ba say religion in Africa problem. A man for be ba say Bruni Africa problem. But I will keep telling you that no matter what, how the goat and the sheep will bleat, no matter the noise the goats and the sheep and the cows, the noise they will make, that will not stop the lion from eating them or using them as feed. And family de there and punching nempino ebeye and nempini you know jata ye di paponi jata na empese ye mani benyini and jata na oh yes upa say it will not stop the nature of the lion. The lion eats flesh. The lion eats goats, eats sheep, eats cow. So your ranting will not stop, will not change the behavior of the lion. The lion will only change its behavior when it realizes that if it should attempt to eat you, you will strike it back. You will give it to you will return whatever energy it uses on you in double fold. Then the lion will begin to learn lesson, like how the Americans have now become to realize that, or they have begun to realize that they cannot take China the way they used to take them. And so if they place or put sanctions on China, China is also able to put or place sanctions on America. If you lift your sanctions, we also lift our sanctions. If you go to space, we are also going to space, and you cannot stop me. That time, you will begin to sit at the table, the same table, and dine with the level-headed guys. Until then, I'm telling you, a group in a yedi, ye Jimmy Frienra, ye guswe Jimmy ne, na ye nja Jimmy no, na ye see the Jimmy we are nebe kwa, ye be bread. What I say, Arabs ne susu pennioma no. Say ye kase obi a materialistica, Arabs pennioma, but one who say United Arab Emirates for no. Omo de omo nipa koko jisika. You can't be a materialistic. I won't has your own. Yeah, tibias me yata de wusu yata. That is not being materialistic. Who here for me here for that is not being materialistic. But say meta mo na chintene atwan. Me de wo kwa koje atade aba abehye no. Na eche say me do atade se wu nipa. Sana ye subantie. Say Arabs no, omu yes Cabrofono, Europeans, no found your me. And Nuntino, what the alphabet bar, or also so the alphabet paper. What do numerals bar, or also the numerals paper. What do technology bar, or also the technology paper. What do religion, Christianity bar, or also the religion, Christianity paper. It is one shot. All the race or mere powerful, they have their technology, they have their writing, they have their God. Asia, China, Japan, Korea, they have their God Buddha. And in quote, Europe, they have their God Jesus Christ. Arabs, they have their God Muhammad. Before we are some God way, shall say you are not intelligent. What you say? It means that you are not intelligent. Check one time in history. History say the way the Byzantines, the Ottoman Empire, the Roman Empire, it taking hold of Irias. Tell me one historical account. Say all the empires I see in Africa, but I could me sorry, capture Europe. And my Europeans never say, they be we were in Kemet, and Mark Antony, and Alexander the Great. BC 300 and something, Alexander Conquer. AD 800 and something, almost about Conquer. In the 14th century, Omonko for Sabe Conquer. A friend say, Umar bin Ashtar, something like that. The Arabian, we say, Arab Nino, Alexander be conquer nation. Arab ni be conquer. Arab Nino called, 1,000 years later, na European the Saba back. Alexander no Saba. And you think say intelligent? Into yet the enwa ya bepuye. Ya yes SB abuo bi abuye bi. Number no. You see before say mo betin your master no. Na agro di yache. Person or chere wadwen betumi a chere wadwen. The person the leaders of this modern era should be very careful. And they easy na yen who say you are in this life for competition. The Asians think that they are competing the Americans and the Europeans. But the Africans think that we are competing amongst our own self. International kwasiasemo ekoso Ghana. In kwasiasemo ekoso Ghana. Adechi a doma hini ayi sei. Adechi a otumfo so ayi sei. Na kwasiasem na abeye bunofo ni asantefo ntokwa. Kwasiasem sa. Jimmy sa. Hello.
Hello, good.
That's it. Morning call.
Yeah, I don't know what my back. Now I leaders no. The leaders in the good leaders are already come back. And the leader you will party and Missy and Kano. And yet no man yet crap. Go to say oh shit pass or Ghana pa now no milk or Ghana. Send no more boss a day near Kano with your question COVID. There comes free education. There comes Ukraine and Russia war. Na a Japadi book, a Japa, D book. Normal cost. Mrs. A good father bang. Mrs. Mahama ba. On for 2 years, in or 4 months, your man deep your own home. Mama, because so we get 2018, 2017, 2018. I buy it to born on what Mahama policy would declare and the benefit 2 years ago. A casa, a event this year's now can be one. It is 2 years, Mamma by something. The person Mahama, one children home. You Ghana is up at the end of the room. And yes, sir. Na Mahama Bano Cassa, and yet the Yamisum Dia, go for the poem, go for me to form India, you watch it. Because I'm a brother.
It has winning. Let me perceive and is still on this particular topic, no? But it's like, let me perceive drifting away from politics and we talk about the general issues. I am telling you, we are unintelligent. I am telling you. And per se, you can go on and then because we do watching. But the fact, no. Say intelligent, they said the Obaya okay. And can also nipa or bepwa. Brunion. Like, and yes, and Quasiafu knew omu. But Brunion sebi, when I bring near Juma Kranoa, will make sure, say, at least we'll take it the right decision, they are one. And no nema omo dance, no. Yeah, dear, you see, you won't tell your grandma. Yeah, because we didn't question some, I mean, what's here? Because Ukrumu ni edibu na mo so why ibika. Hello. Yeah, so bet me at your wedding. So person free. Bet me at your wedding. So person free. I'm telling you. I'll be better on a religion. Me to one me share boys now. Omuye and a religion. Obi enu a ofosu nipa. Agra dan sorry anopa. Faka ene nam amanfo fi nkonkotwe obi aso metana na sorry dem. Hello.
Good evening.
Nacho kasa.
Abu no kase second.
Abu, watch me live. Oh, last silence. Oh, and then just a bit to 1 be.
Okay. I'm coming to carry you guys. I'm coming. Asamo, brother, I'm sure Papa. The case of what am I gonna for? 6 years, I'm so what we know where show. Said you, I'm there. What? You only move if you do. I went to one for scout the same when one trouble man and out of trouble my head. Because this is a meeting agreement. I'm not catching it, and then you come out, you know. In the come out, peace, I look at last 3 weeks, they were on 40 Ghana.
Meaning a position who ye na. Position who ye. Hello? Pacho yemfa video calls into the Mr. Obi a wouldn't name me then I'll my video call. Sorry. Hello. Good evening.
In Africa country, you are to me. Protect everyone. I want to defend. I'm not making any difference. Tell them what I say. That is where the problems are. Because we can't even defend ourselves. Because as a man, so the same thing I have to be trouble. Yeah, mother, because you have engineer. Yeah, just the sugar bread, mirror. And now from we can't even wait. We didn't learn from it. Yet, am I a man? That's what about boy to me for because near my just like, yeah, passing in a number.
That's it. Mate, yeah, the more beba, yeah, the more beba, yeah, the more beba. Yes, it does. Hello. Hello. Yeah, me too. So, it's on Kappa Casa. Me who ye pa, my said that dear.
I want to say your mom in the bed, your chili, and in the bush, your mom, we are Ghana. I'll be some to Ghana, ma, a brofo, no so blue, so bad on my. Yet, I wouldn't answer by what time the man better than your mamma. No far, papa, and every poor money and Mutoya, and the branch of bread. Said a branch to pine and to my papa, my major party to pan. Now, go full way, but we are not no Jessica. And over catches here where Cremoni, na Cremofon Traba, Cremoni, no Traba, Diamond, Cremoni, or anyone that we shall for Traba. It should do, you know, and yet it will find it from that I bet this jump of Wadaba. Here was me, when you're on the time what you need. It's time. Bye bye.
Bye. Hello. Hello. Yeah, you also mean your casa. And I want uncle. Wait till you're sending me why. I have first sending me. I say, yes. Oh, I can't. Sorry, Nana. Wait me ask about you. Hello. Senior, Casa.
Yeah, good evening, Michelle. As I'm okay, yeah, look, we need Ghana for now. What I say now, who say Africa? Now, yet one of the BA claim say religion has say, you know. Oh, God, which you have almost some pastor to say, oh, but then, what if we do on one way to religious or more tears? Yes, now more or some young but a too many here. It's your all in the hour shift, all giant one pass on them.
A choice, Obinia. A choice.
Choices. You see, they understand that there's the spiritual side of life, but they know says somebody here was so weird. You see, we are lazy. You want somebody to do everything for us. It's the other country. It dreams. Oh, what do woman or be seen to say it's actually. Maybe someone say, how did our grandfathers know how to read the Bible to understand when it was not even in the language of what he has said? Just this is the idea to now. Programming how?
A conscious effort now can say, Obekwa Kusia ABCD. Usia ABCD ni read. And now sans will be saying reading it. And men can change will be before so. Yes. Or even under 20, you know. It's a good point. That's it. You see, when you don't want to accept the fact, hello, Minia. Abu Misro, yen snappy my na amount for the great Sorobaso.
What's the task I want to tell last they will tell you about maybe a cramoiba. Naponia said your life or 5 Tuesday, our second day. Now, my dress or dressing our chair, my me or 419. So on them with a crack in a local function, what a lot of shit. No, you never doubt that the one thing I can tell me in the video, pictures of the wedding. What's your wedding gun? It's about transfers, so more pictures now, often selling, and
that's it.
No, they are going to forward or other income of phone.
That's it.
Or your company.
That's
African, because I have problem. No,
that's it. That's Abu. We have four before. Hello. Yes, Nana, you're not snapping my amount for be person bustle. And then maybe I measure. What's him, Nana? The better. That's a banana. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Charlie, my power.
Yeah, that's a banana.
We didn't even free Australia.
Okay. Hey, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we just say, Omo would be the whole canning them grano. With me, more example said the air cost away a crew. Here, Piana, leaders, Tiona, Omodi, Chinese boarding Airbnb companies were a crew. Only Chinese for Galamsey, as I say, my Chinese phone of the year, Galamsey, Yamana, crew for Tiona, yet show. The piano and another yet try a crew na abrofo by and I say yet near friend one I say you only more as slaves no common boy. It's intelligent the need if you are not our kind that's it my power.
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, no uncle, yes.
Yeah. What's about all kind of level? Like I'm, first one was it, say, what you home? No, be before no, you were now. What do you never home? Yes, so valid. The training, I say, what you know, Ghana, don't touch my anointed for a therefore, do I you open? 2019, none of but you to be driven. You actually said, or should not come up as the game. Come up as the game, no. Was it or so far, so was the man? Never was a second. People could be any man. All part of a country, you come out of it, come out. Some rock before from a laugh, no, pay for me, you know, or make overcome about my was it can go? I said, hello.
Metom Kakasa.
Yeah, I said, was it Miss Office way before that? They said the car says, for pardon me, well, no matter what pencil. And I said, no, she had a bit. So they said, Omushiano, some of you come about. You got a mamma to go quicker. Well, she said, woman, you should work in the same what kind of year would be before do I have.
That's it. I have a very good, issues, similar experience. My coin distribution with my rice project, my local rice, my packaging, come and I'm the Akoma, E-Life, Maximat, Wisdom, Amachi, or Tech Johnson, major supermarkets, Kumasi, Vitas, New Life. Inti me buy no my bread, my car no refi, ena. Baby na meteo kentin krono so na efie na enim na ewura kakra grass bi afu ho no mitino. Me pack car ne si ho. Inti me kose dem a me die kakra ma nitin am say ma me fa car ya me wura efie nti me be me gate no too. Efie na me pack me ko pack car ne si ho. Ade a cha no pa. Mr. Tikano, me kwa meti bibi meow. Say yes, and me shimmy. I'm say ada if me phone be na tone be ana radio meeting or can him yes ana. Ewana me paki wakra Kumase kwan in China me jina Kentin Chrono GHS honum baby a Silicon Hotel no one. Still ana me ti sound nams no. Ade we dey. Me sound ko ni nam krumu me buy still ana me sati me out. Not knowing say okraba ena afa car na se akɔhye engine side honum say engine echo water tank ne side o baby me koto hwehwe ase ha wo yesa bia wo kwa wo no wahu nti no akɔpɛ be fofura say me hu ade kro na me de call fitem wo I did college wo no mo kenti kro no run about baby a eye da hey yekohwe a okra baby ena akɔhye honum na fitafo no ye ya no me ye dey omo yiye eni se me ko park si nwura mu honum no okra bi be fa car na se na adi nyina ne se em se womf kakra honum esh kakra nti no okɔhye nso omu hwente omu pe bi e we esh kakra ena okɔhye car no so ho nti we na obi aba be catch say oh o ma me bosom efi bosom omu pe se adwuma na wo ye no ebe yi omu pe se car no kra no ya gistia no ekoto car no tutwene enu nti na wo cause a problem for you. These are some of the things it has no religious link bia. Mia. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, me akada. Ohineba.
Asama wakana to makoma so. But now me person me bisa omo a wole wa pese for omo ti. Say yeah no pala na aba right now, but we have a future.
Ohineba kaza. Ohineba.
Now me person me say en pala na asisi ne yaba no. I mean the new generation because
I meant you more device so just tell me in the phone anymore. And yes, I be a repetition.
Okay, after that. Now me person me bisa say me share penny for has a abrofo like omudimo. And looking at our culture, yeah, no, we have a history, but they don't have a history. Maybe I'm a many castello. Remember me, which as a normal bibra, which is me grandma expectation why we have. But the catcher me say, yeah, you said that was 60 years, 70 years ago, as I said. Now they are building new way of that is the technology for Okwalana, CC or mobile. But we are the next generation now, which is the Africa. Yeah, I benefited that technology. But when I look at where I come from, bro, with tribal issues, religious issues, it's like you want to say, hey, 300 years back. And I feel like me want cemetery. I live in a cemetery, bro. So sometimes my mother, even my father himself, is almost back 300 years back. When it comes to technology, the near fear, free. The old channel, on a different way. What does it? So sometimes, I just need idea just to connect to the youth. They will say it will future. And I say there is nothing like future because I'm not going to say Africa is the next future. I can't see.
Nana, I'm in trouble. Sir, the guys now from Abrofuno. Say, unim how intelligent and conforming you have moved with them. Yeah. So Bruni Priziwa, you're very careful. Oh, Africa is the future. Obwa. I am telling you. They know. They said what the future now, what's your plan? And you Bruni was what the country.
Okay.
You don't need anyone to come to your house to come and tell you how you and your wife and your kids should live. You have to sit down and make some introspection. Na examine who say a DNA me ne me yire ne me ma ye right. Baby a we mistake, accept. Don't blame it on others. Say me wo fa we and one hwe me school. Intina me ntimi ankwa nuru baby a medru. Because all of them 20 years no ball was abroad no. One hwe school. One hwe school. Nanso so ene no wa dwene da wutrim say timi ye adwuma na wan hwe school na mo wagimi. Good. And so if one hwe school ba what be their pay biane dia e kire say obetimi san dia pay bibi beyond the biane. Because there are a lot of people omo papa no mama mo anhwe but and then omo na hwe omo mama no papa.
But in Koto right now, I met people like what European Union office headquarters. You understand?
Oh, yeah. Now, there, I mean, take you one thing. You see, when Yemfan concludes, the conclusion. So, Utnaho. Na Africa, yet naho. Na Obroni ne catch you say, Africa is the future. Omobwa. Because if you become the future, what will they become? Makacho say, a tricks are Jatano, Jatano, or the Benyan and say, or be ambush you. And when or if people want to ambush you, they ambush you with so many tactics and strategies. Jatani bet me yin and it said ye. Ona okon kra wunya wa onyo. Into once what became tell me oh I'm the future. Is the one me. I'm the future on me. Obetino na nice and no are you tear we na ka I know the yin. Let me state it here. This battle, this competition, no one will leave his or her lane and come and run your race for you. The Americans, the Europeans, the Asians will not leave their respective lanes and come and run for us. We have to run our race. And we have to get it at the back of our mind that we are in serious competition. We are in serious competition. Yeah, trouble. Those saying say Africa is the future. No. Let's now, Minia, Yenshe Ghana, Yenshe Nigeria, Yenshe Congo, Yenshe Burkina. What strategic measures any yedigua kwemwa light the actually and say Africa is the future? Is it because Brunino and their country went in the yesterday they told us when Kwame Nkrumah gained independence, no, the new dawn of Africa now so can be. It's a new dawn for Africa. Kwame Nkrumah dawn and about midnight the amaye. Yet darkness the amaye. Why? We derelict on our duties, on our responsibilities. And instead of us taking the bull by the horn, we were only parading ourselves and doing jamborees. We buy into sloganeering. And no, I cripple, you know. We haven't put down structures to warrant Africans being what? That the mantra, Africa is the future. Africa is not the future. Africa is the past. And will continue to be in the past if we did not take, if we decide not to take drastic decisions. And then if we do not be strategic and tactical in our dealing with other race, now I'm telling you, we are doomed. Then I make a chemo. Make a chemo. In the Africa is the future and the Munjaika. We haven't set any strategic plans to warrant this. Proni bema waye eyi. Se oku na ohu se o build it o military. O build it your intelligence. Ohu se afedie wo ubetimi atena Ghana. Na wo the sophisticated machines bia ba oni hunim bia oto a ebetimi afri Ghana apese ni kura obesha ase na onu afa adamfo. Eno ni language a obruni ti ase. Eno ni language a jata oti ase. Apart from say jata bo a obepo ni bi no onte hwe ase bi. Jata oni uni jata ni nam eni agro. Lions do not play with their friends say prayers no. She jata ne wo ni nam media agro. Europe and the resources media grow. Europe doesn't play with resource. America doesn't joke with resource. And we are their resource until the day they decide to take the resource and the resource decide to fight back. Apart from that day, forget about it. They say all those things to bamboozle us, to coerce us, to conquer us. Timinia, that is it. Timinia, Kwame, that is it. I am telling you. In a series, no, and I am telling you, this is a tip of the iceberg. Oh, intino. At the end of the dibano, beyond kakra. Saturdays biano will try to speak to liberate the minds of the people and don't fall into the traps of certain African historians who always want to project certain African heroes be the greatest, richest man ever lived, Mansa Musa, and so Mansa Musa. Yeah, who so conquer? We ask baby, the Yancy say, was a sago de coma Mecca. Yes, if your ancestors once upon a time was a sa gold called Mecca, and then into Namosumo Sisa, Mutriesica, a bay bet and cried Yamae, say all over the world, if you don't go to people's country, then it means that your God, you haven't fulfilled the principles of your God. You have a problem. What you say? Mansa Musa called Mecca. 500 years later, in the name of a God. Where is the intelligence? And Saudi Arabia for Oma between two the wow ye Muslim so. Why is it that ye papa no ntumi anka se ye de sumna breye wa nanso so baby a esom no pie wo Ghana no se pie ye e wo wa ya yenka ye dum bi wo wa every year biano Muslim biano o ko wa no akotra ho ne abompa ye de akire nyame no da bi o bompa ye wa nyankopon ntie ye so ko mek ho no nyankopon bitie na it has become a pillar e jina pon a wo say ujina so de simu nyankopon a it is not by force. So you have elected to do that. Say your whole president Bekacho say, "O see a sorry dying. Now sorry dying be repay ya just wakofa a boy if you be crew diaba. But ye will bo be bre wo bo oko kwawu a omo te botan so. Nnuanum kumawu fo e te botan so. E kufo ado na hu omo te be poso wo. Ya you know, e kwapem rage ne so. And so kofa abo from Israel. And no catch him say religion is your problem. Or mindset is your problem. The mindset of the black man is his problem, not religion, not the white man. If you fight your enemies, you will get peace. That's why I always say, peace is war. Beat your enemy to the extent that your enemy will run away from you and you have your peace. And Dios, ebe shada foforo. I be friend the same day. Makramo. Bye-bye.
Hey!